for it, and he went for it a little bit too hard. So just a few minutes to go before the racing gets underway, and we can now hear from Natalie Imbruglia, the singer, songwriter, actress. She spoke up with Nikki a minute ago.
Well, Natalie Imbruglia, fantastic to have you here. Looking amazing as usual, especially after seeing you last night at the gala dinner. And now, what do you think? First impressions of Formula E?
It's so quiet. It's brilliant. Last time at Formula One, I had plugs in. It's just really exciting, I think. Such an exciting thing, moving into electric cars. And yeah, I got to sing at the gala last night, and now I get to look at all the hot racing car drivers. I mean,
what more could you want? And it was a fabulous performance, so well done. Thank you for doing it. Well, have a great day, and we'll see you later.
So Natalie Imbruglia will now be making her way off the grid ahead of the 7th round of the FIA Formula E Championship here in Monaco. Sebastian Buemi starting on pole position, De Grassi alongside him. It's going to be a 47-lap race, and it should be very entertaining. You can see the cars are a couple of slots back from their grid positions because their formation lap will essentially be them pulling forward 2 rows, and then the lights will come on and we'll be going green in Monaco for round 7. The 7th round of the FIA Formula E Championship is just minutes away here in Monaco. The streets of the Principality set to play host to the first European race in the brand new all-electric single-seater championship. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me in the commentary box is Mike Conway. We've got Nikki Shields down on the grid, and now we've been through all the Monaco glamour, the Monaco razzmatazz, the celebrities, and now it is time for the racing to get underway. And that really is what Monaco means to all of us. Here's a look at the grid. On pole position on the left-hand side, Sebastian Buemi, his 2nd pole position of the season so far, having taken one early in the year at Punta del Este. 2nd on the grid is Lucas De Grassi, the man who is leading the championship, and he will be desperate to get a good result here to follow on from his 3rd place last time out in Long Beach. Best qualifying of the season so far for Jerome D'Ambrosio. The Belgian racer won here in 2010 in GP2. He starts 3rd. Nelson Piquet just a point behind De Grassi at the top of the championship, and he's got the fan boost. He's 4th. Daniel Abt is starting 5th for the Abt team. He was reasonably pleased with that, but disappointed to still be behind his teammate De Grassi. Nico Prost could only manage 6th on the grid, his first time racing at this Monaco circuit. Bruno Senna, 7th on the grid, just behind Prost. His uncle, of course, had a mighty impressive record around the Principality. Stefan Sarrazin will start in 8th position for the Monegasque Venturi team. They'll be hoping for a good run today. 9th place on the grid, Salvador Duran, the Mexican for Amnin Aguri. He was hoping to get as high as 7th. It didn't quite work out for him in qualifying. Sam Bird will start in 10th position on the grid. The Englishman a lot further back than he would have wanted to be. The same is true of Jean-Eric Vergne. He's got the fan boost, but he made a mistake in qualifying, and his 11th is all the Andretti driver could manage. 12th on the grid is Jarno Trulli. He won here in Formula One in 2004, but he's a long way back on the grid today to try and repeat that performance. Scott Speed has been struggling with brakes all weekend in the 2nd Andretti car. He starts in 13th spot on the grid. Loic Duval had a 10-place penalty for a change of battery, so the Dragon Racing driver has it all to do, and he is alongside Tonio Liuzzi, who will start in 15th position on the grid. 16th position, just behind him, is Nick Heidfeld in the 2nd Venturi car. Frustration for him in the qualifying session too. 17th on the grid, another man who had a 10-place grid penalty, Jaime Alguersuari, despite looking mighty quick in the free practice sessions. 18th on the grid is going to be Charles Pic, the Frenchman at what is essentially his home race, hoping to climb up the order. 19th on the grid is Antonio Felix da Costa. He had an accident at Tabac in qualifying, so he didn't manage to set a lap time. And the 3rd of our grid penalties is Karun Chandok, a 10-place grid penalty because he too had to change his battery. He'll start 20th and last on the grid. So the grid's been cleared, and now, Mike, it comes down to the racing. What are the feelings at this moment?
I know, yeah, tense moments. It's not far away now till we're going, and they've already pulled forward here for the near start now. They're all getting into their real position for the start, and yeah, the heart rate's going to be rising. You know, we may get some visuals of that later, but it's yeah, it's going to be tense moments. You're just counting the seconds. The seconds feel like minutes. It's it's a long time waiting for those lights to go out.
And we're about to get going here in Monaco. Pole position, Sebastian Buemi in the blue and yellow Edam's car on the left as we look at it. Alongside him is Lucas Di Grassi in the yellow and red Abt car. We go green in Monaco, and it's a really good start from Buemi. He holds the lead of the race. D'Ambrosio is trying to challenge Di Grassi. Not quite close enough. Bit of a lock-up, but nothing too dramatic, as everyone will have to be so careful. Oh, there's the front wing gone of Jean-Eric Vergne. He's gone into the back of the car behind. Alguersuari's out of the race as well. Oh, and a big melee coming out and down, and that is not what we want to see at all. As Abt out of the race, it's Senna out of the race, safety car deployed, but that, I'm afraid to say, is a classic Monaco pile-up coming out of turn 1, down JFK Avenue, and safety car deployed, but good start from Buemi, but that's messy.
Oh, that was, I couldn't quite see what happened there, but it all just started to kick off as soon as they came out of turn 1 into 2 there, and lots of damage. There's
Salvador Duran, Daniel Abt, both out of the race too, and there is the Qualcomm safety car deployed. We thought we might get a safety car today. I didn't think it would be
that early.
Quite, or for quite that many retirements, but the marshals now get to work. And that's the great thing about this Monaco circuit, is they've got cranes, they've got dollies, they've got all sorts. Oh, both Andretti cars have been in the wars. Liuzzi's lost a rear wing. Chanduk has got past Scholl Peak, that's the positive, but that's Jean-Eric Vergne's race over. Well, they can come back into the pits and get in a second car, but the second car won't be able to do the full race distance. So the best they can do is get out in the second car and just go out and treat it as a bit of a test session, I suppose.
Yeah, just try and learn something. But yeah, that car was not looking too well. And yeah, it just, and even Alguersuari there is sat there, lots of damage to his car, and he started right at the back. So, you know, even him either caught him out and he got involved into the back of people, or we couldn't quite see it. So it'll be good once we get a replay here and can really find out what went on.
So into the pits comes Jean-Eric Vergne. It was a difficult day for the Andretti squad already. Vergne making a mistake in qualifying. He's got speed, struggling with the brakes, but it's just got an awful lot more challenging as Tonio Liuzzi is pulled back into the garage. Here's a replay of the start then. Buemi gets away fine, and it's all quite calm up there. Now let's keep an eye out for Alguersuari. He's up behind Liuzzi as they run down the hill. Up at the front it was all fairly calm, but here comes Alguersuari now. Oh, okay, so it was just a concertina effect, because they went into the back, Vergne went into the back here, it then concertinaed up from behind the Andretti car. Then what happens as they come down the hill?
The Abt car hit the wall.
Oh my goodness!
The Abt car hit the wall and Senna just went straight over the back of him. Wow, that could have been a really nasty one.
Wow, so Bruno Senna leaping over the back of Daniel Abt. Yeah, so Abt, has he been pushed in the wall there, or has he hit the wall on the other side? But that's a big moment for Bruno Senna. And Loic Duval's been taken out in that as well. The two Andretti cars have hit each other, and Karun Chanduk's going, well, I'm pretty glad I had that grid penalty now. This is the view from Nick Heidfeld. Oh, locks up on the brakes.
Yeah, good reactions from Nick there. That was another close moment.
Yeah, that is. I don't know whether he got hit from behind, but he didn't look like he got too much of a hit up at the front. They've got Bruno Senna's car out of the way, but well, not a disastrous start is a bit of a strong term, but the starts go. It wasn't particularly good. And there is Salvador Duran. He's heading back out onto the circuit. Now he's changed over his car. Jaime Alguersuari's Virgin machine is being removed. But we've seen many of them over the years, these sort of pile-ups at Monaco, but wasn't expecting one quite as spectacular as that at the start of this race.
Yeah, and but the marshals again are so fast to clear things out the way. You know, the track is already clear now through turn 2, and I think turn 1 also, so we'll be going soon here, I believe. And yeah, we've lost a lot of cars already. It's a shame, but that can happen at the street circuits, and here as well, the corners are quite blind. If someone gets caught up instantly on the wall, you know, you saw there's no room to get out of the way, and that's what happened.
So the Qualcomm safety car is out and the lights are still on, so we won't be going racing anytime soon. Who's a big winner from that? Stefan Sarazan has gone from 8th up to 5th. The safety car will be in this lap then, so lights off on the safety car. There's the back of Daniel Abt's car that I'm not quite sure how he started it, but he definitely started it by ending up in the wall, and then it all sort of kicked off behind him. But the safety car will be coming in this lap. Sebastian Buemi will continue to lead the way. There you can see the order on the left-hand side. When will Buemi decide to go? He holds back and he floors it now, coming through Raskas. Safety car pulls in here at Monaco, and we go green once more on the streets of the Principality. Through the final corner they come. It's Sebastian Buemi leading the way. De Grassi is second, D'Ambrosio third, Piquet Jr. is in fourth place, then Sarrazin is up into fifth from eighth. Nico Prost is still in sixth position, where he started. Bird in seventh, Trulli in eighth, Speed in ninth, and Heidfeld completing the top 10. I think we've got 15 runners out there at the moment, maybe 16, because I think Salvador Duran is still going as they come down to the Harbour hairpin for the first time. There's a big gap back from Trulli to Scott Speed, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, if the field just didn't quite catch up before it went green, if it caught everyone out by surprise. But it's good to see how close the front three are, though. Jerome just slicing it through turns 6, 7, down into 8, 9 here. And he's got someone right on his
Nelson Piquet, he's all over the back of the Dragon car as they come now towards the Raskas. He's not going to be close enough to look to the inside. In fact, D'Ambrosio feels the need to cover as they swing through the famous part of the circuit, then through Anthony Nogues and out onto the start-finish straight again. But that is absolutely nose to tail, and they've got to be careful because Stefan Sarrazin is right up behind. We go on board with Nelson Piquet Jr. down towards the new Sainte Devote. Onto the brakes. Into the right-hander.
And that's where Nelson seems very good. His straight line speed looked a little bit down maybe to Jerome, but under braking and his corner speed, as you can see here, he closes right up to the back of Jerome there, and he looks really eager to get by.
We've got a yellow flag out in the swimming pool section. Meanwhile, you can see the energy usage on the left-hand side. So Piquet's got 87% left. The race leaders have got 89% left. The yellow flag is out around here, so I wonder if it's one of these bollards on the right-hand side that's been taken out. Well, I didn't spot anything there, but the yellow flags are certainly out at the exit of the swimming pool. We're on lap 5 of 47 here in Monaco. And Nelson Piquet Jr. is really harrying D'Ambrosio in front, and he's using his fan boost now. Nelson Piquet Jr. He'll dart to the outside, but he's not going to be quite close enough. He'll get alongside. This is going to be very tight on the run down into Sainte Devote. Gets on the brakes, not close enough. D'Ambrosio manages to keep it together, and Piquet's used his fan boost now for this car. He'll get another chance on his second car, but is that the moment gone? Up the inside into the Harbour hairpin. Great move from Nelson Piquet Jr. He's up into third place. That was decisive.
That was a great move. Yeah, he really just was determined to get by Jerome, and yeah, just really pulled it out under braking. Straight up the inside, a nice clean move, and now he's up into third position.
And now he's proved also that overtaking can happen here on the streets of Monaco. Still, we've got the double waved yellows. Oh, okay, so there we go. We've got a bit of debris in the middle of the circuit. So I wonder, we might just have yellow flags there for the rest of the race, potentially, unless we end up with another safety car. We go on board now with Nelson Piquet Jr. Third position for the Brazilian as he comes through Anthony Nogues and now starts to close down on Lucas de Grassi in front. And these two have been racing together for many years, but this morning Piquet said, yeah, we've been racing together for many years, but he's always been behind me, and I've got to put that right here this weekend.
Yeah, and I think that's making him even more determined to catch Lucas now ahead of him. And you could already hear, just going into turn 1, that small little lift on throttle before he braked, and that's where he's just trying to save some energy and not use all this allocated amount. And you can see there the amounts everyone's got alongside them. Just keeps you up to date on how much energy you have left for the rest of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And so energy management here isn't going to be, it's going to be more critical apparently if there is a safety car, because then you can start to do different things with it. Because obviously when you're behind the safety car, you're using more energy than when you are racing flat out up at the front of the field, which is exactly what Buemi and de Grassi are doing, because de Grassi took out a couple of tenths of a second in the first sector alone on that last lap compared to Buemi. The gap was 7/10 of a second. Across the line they come. It's now down to 6/10 of a second. Fastest lap of the race last time around for Lucas de Grassi, the Brazilian in second place. Then actually, they're getting away from Nelson Piquet. I thought Piquet would then sort of start to close in on them.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like that would be the case, but maybe Nelson is just managing his energy right now. You know, you could see he lost about 3/10 of the leader on that lap, so maybe he's just managing his energy consumption here and just letting the race pan out. And you know, it's still early stages, so there's a long way to go here, and hopefully they can get that debris removed in turns 8 and 9. Might open up some possible overtaking opportunities through there.
Yeah, absolutely, that would be good. There you can see confirmation. Lucas de Grassi sets the fastest lap of the race. The two of them dive through Anthony Nogues together and out to start another lap. That'll be lap 9 of 47 that they're on now.
0.0.
And that's Lucas de Grassi's team radio saying 0.0, which I think basically that's the dash he's reading, and that means he's spot on for what he's meant to be doing. This is Scott Speed losing out here to Antonio Felix da Costa. Oh, Speed hasn't been in to change his front wing, so that's why Speed's really slow. Okay, so that's interesting. That's why Scott Speed is struggling and dropping down to 11th position. Antonio Felix da Costa up into 10th place now then. But the two leaders have made a bit of a break, and then it's all a queue further back as they dive into the swimming pool. And then out again. That's Sam Bird at the back of the pack. They've taken away the yellow flags now at the exit of the swimming pool, so that's going to be better. But this little group is just sort of brewing, isn't it? And,
it is, and we can see some guys further back of the field setting some purple sectors here. So maybe they're, getting frustrated trying to make something happen here. Just saw a back marker go by, I think, on the front straight there. One of the Yap cars, I believe.
Yep, and it's Jean-Eric. Well, they're making their way past Jean-Eric Byrne and Loic Duval too. So it's all getting a little bit tight now as Duval tries to get out of the way. And Buemi's up the inside. He gets through. De Grassi gets through as well. But this is something that we haven't really seen this season. Back markers, because they're all so close.
Bit of a tense moment there, I'm sure, for Seb. He wasn't sure if Loic Duval was going to let him by or give him room, but luckily he just gave him enough room there and into turn 3, and he was able to go up the inside. But it has created a bigger gap now from second position to third with that going on. So
it's created a really big gap, actually. Let's just see. Well, we cut now to the Edam's garage, but it was 4 seconds, but they've lost 2 seconds, in that middle sector, trying to get past the back markers. They're just exiting Anthony Nogues now. Here's the active gap between Buemi and de Grassi across the line, and it is 0.6 of a second between them still, as it has been for most of the race so far. Lucas de Grassi, his best result here is a 4th place. And that was Lucas de Grassi, I think, having a bit of team radio. Didn't quite catch what was said. The battle's on for 3rd place. Now Piquet's got past.
15.
That's de Grassi's team radio, radioing back information. Nick Heidfeldt's just set the fastest lap of the race. He's currently running in 9th spot, so he didn't have to come into the pits after that first lap melee. As we go on board again with D'Ambrosio in the Dragon car, diving through the chicane at the exit of the swimming pool. And how are we looking? Sarrazan's pretty low on his energy on the left-hand side here. Buemi and de Grassi, despite romping away at the front, are still keeping a reasonable amount of energy. So that's got to be good news for them. Piquet Jr., D'Ambrosio, Sarrazan and Prost in this queue are using up more energy than some of the others.
And that's why the radio information is so important, because the teams, they only see what we see on the TV. So when they don't have that on display on the TV, the drivers are trying to give as much information as they can regarding the energy usage, the battery temperature, things like that, just to keep on top of everything. So they can work out their strategies through the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's starting to thread out a little bit more, spread out a little bit more, I should say. Sam Bird's looking pretty racy behind Nico Prost in the battle over 6th position. But we do tend to see this in Formula E races, that the first sort of half is reasonably calm, and they're all happy to just sort of sit in position and wait until they get an opportunity when they've changed their cars and they know exactly what they've got to do to the end of the race, and then start to attack. That sort of seems to be the way that the teams run it.
Yeah, but interesting just to see now that Nelson Piquet just set the fastest lap of the race, and it was a good chunk faster than what the leaders have. So maybe he's stepping things up now, and the leaders are, well, now with that advantage, they're maybe trying to save as much as they can, just to keep that buffer. So interesting. I think things are going to play out a little bit more now as the laps go on.
Yeah, we are on lap 13 of 47 here in Monaco, the 7th round of the Formula E season, and at the moment Lucas de Grassi is running in 2nd position with Buemi leading, and that would mean that de Grassi would extend his championship advantage over Piquet, but Buemi would be closing in as Antonio Liuzzi gets out of the way of the rest of the gang. Stefan Sarrazan set the fastest first sector of anyone. Nelson Piquet on that last lap set the fastest lap of anyone.
14.5.
And there's Nelson Piquet's team radio as he comes down towards the right-hander at Sandoval. The two leaders still nose to tail. And this sort of pursuit around Monaco is classic, isn't it? He must have been involved in some of these where you're just relentlessly following this guy between the walls.
Yeah, it's so tricky to pass here, especially not just this layout, the full circuit. It's always quite tricky, especially when you're so close, when you've only got maybe half a tenth, on the guy in front of you. It's just really hard to pick a position where you can get past him, but that's where the fan boost can come into play. You saw Nelson Piquet try and use it up into turn one, and it only takes half a car width just to stay to the right and half block, and it makes it very difficult. So even with that extra 30 kilowatts of power, it still makes it hard. But I think we'll see a bit more as the race unfolds.
It's Buemi's team radio once again, and that's Mike Conway alongside me in the commentary box this weekend. The man who was driven, oh, that's big lift and coast actually, isn't it, coming down into Sandoval?
Yeah, very early, and you could see that Nelson was even a little bit more because he caught him there under braking. So I think Nelson's trying to manage things here, but Nelson seems pretty quick in the second sector compared to the leaders, but at any moment the leaders seem to be able to do the same as well. But also Sam Bird popped in a really quick middle sector there as well, so it's all happening at the moment.
Yeah, he set the fastest lap of the race that last time around, which was a second quicker than the race leaders. Sam Bird there in this silver and red Virgin car at the back of this little queue.
And the benefit of Sam has here, sitting at the back, he's able to, you know, save that little bit more energy as well, because he can just really go off of the guy in front of him and lift when he has to, and try and save a bit more, and that could play into the possibility of
11.5.
That's Jerome D'Ambrosio.
Copy, Jerome.
Just the possibility of maybe going an extra lap in the strategy, which we'll see.
Jerome D'Ambrosio darting out and around behind Nelson Piquet. Piquet driving in the middle of the road as they on the run down towards the hairpin. It is, I think it's just about wide enough that even if you drive in the middle, there is still a bit of a gap on the inside line. Here's a replay of Scott Speed's battered. Oh, I thought that was going under there, and he was going straight towards the wall.
Yeah, and that can really cause difficulties trying to turn when you've got things under your front wheels.
Great lesson in mechanics from Mike Conway.
Yeah.
So we're on lap 16 of 47. Scott Speed is running down in 11th place, but I guess the reason he hasn't come in is if he can just hang on in there, if a safety car comes out, he's right back in the fight, and he hasn't had to change his car. So I presume that's the thinking that Andretti are following. And here's a look at Nick Heidfeld up the inside of Jarno Trulli. Oh, that's going to be a touch there, and it is. That's the battle over 8th position.
Really
this is on board with Heidfeld. Was he far enough alongside or not?
Enough to maybe make a move, but Jarno just wasn't having any of it. He just wanted that corner, I'm afraid.
Yeah, absolutely. So on board we go again with Nick Heidfeld. He and Jarno Trulli, two of the most experienced men here. And Nick Heidfeld won at this circuit in 1998 in Formula 3000 as Bruno Senna, a very disappointed Bruno Senna, heads up the stairs to the Mahindra garage, and he is out of the race. This second pack are closing in on the race leaders now. It was 4 seconds at one point when they were going through traffic. It's now down to 1.5 seconds between De Grassi and Piquet, between second and third. So
it's amazing how they've caught that gap, and the energy usage as well has not been hugely different. So no, they've been managing it well back in that pack, and they've caught them right up. So interesting, and we could see earlier on Nick Heidfeld's car, he has got some damage on that front wing, so that's going to make his life even more difficult until he changes his car.
Yeah, absolutely. Into the harbour hairpin they come, and then out on the sprint towards Tabac. Sarrazan's down to 30% then on his energy. You can see on the left-hand side the man in 5th position. And so he is the most, and 29 now. Nico Prost just dipped into it too. So compare them to the two leaders as Antonio Liuzzi gets out of the way again. Compare that to the two leaders who have got 36%, and you have to say the leaders are doing a good job, but Piquet has closed in on them and has only got 1% less. That's impressive stuff, and at the moment you have to say Piquet is looking in a pretty strong position at the moment. The guys behind us still with him, but they've got a bit less energy.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing Nelson can really keep these sector speeds going and catch the leaders. but the guys behind Nelson haven't been quite as efficient as him, and they are, you know, about 3% lower in energy. It's going to make a difference.
8.6.
There, that was Charles Pic, I think, coming over the radio there. That is Loic Duval in the pits, and that is Daniel Abt in the pits as well. And that might be their races run, having swapped their cars in the early stages. Cars 10 and 23 are under investigation. That is Jarno Trulli and Heidfeld. So that's the collision that they had down at the Harbour hairpin a few moments ago. That is now under investigation as we head towards the Rascasse once more. Lap 19 of 47, still 29 laps left to go. We go on board with Nelson Piquet Jr. You can see on the right-hand tower the power he's using. He's using pretty much 150 at the moment, isn't he? Pretty much as fast as he can possibly go. And he's still got 30% of the battery energy remaining in the centre.
Yeah,
He's coming off the throttle in Nice.
Yeah, it's really been coasting, but that's how they're managing the energy. Just able to lift out, keep it at your maximum.
7.4, 7.4.
Again, that's Charles Pic's team radio.
Okay, copy.
As he gives the Team China squad an update on what's going on. Sam Bird has got past Nico Frost meanwhile, so Bird has got up into 6th position. We haven't seen it, but the positions have just changed, and as they came across the line last time around. So good work from Sam Bird, a man who's won here twice, 2 years in a row in 2013 and 2012. So that's good work from the Virgin driver. As we stay on board with Piquet, coming into the final corner, and Anthony Nogues now out onto the start-finish straight again. Has he closed in this time around?
6.9.
There's Piquet's team radio. And here's a look at what happened. Up the inside into Sandevot. Job done.
Bang. There you go. Yeah, very textbook move. Nicely done. And clean X out of the corner. Now he's probably going to try and hunt down the guys in front of him.
Oh, and there goes the wheel cover off the front of Nick Heidfeld. So that's probably remnants of the damage after a collision with Jarno Trulli. And I think that might be why the yellow flag has come out. Because, yeah, it's down at turn 2. So that's probably why the yellow flag's out.
And we saw the lap before Seb put in a good time, stretch out the lead a little bit. And now De Grassi's come straight back with a 56.9 and reduce that gap down again to half a second. So they're playing a bit of cat and mouse at the moment, trying not to use their energy, but they don't want to let each other get too far away.
There's the Amna Naguri car getting out of the way of Salvador Duran. And Nico Frost is struggling a little bit in this race, as he did last time out in Long Beach. So ever since he won in Miami, he's struggled a little bit to totally race at the front.
And he's quite low on energy too. Like Sarrazin, he's like 14-15%.
Oh, and he's just locked up coming into Sandevot. He did get it stopped in time, but that's not going to be great news for him. The yellow flag's out for that little nose cone on the left-hand side, but that shouldn't make too much difference because it's green by the time you get down towards the first corner. And, well, we can now hear from Bruno Senna, the man dramatically eliminated at the start of the race. Nikki.
Bruno Senna, things were looking so good earlier today, and what an unfortunate start. Are you okay, first of all?
Yeah, I'm very stiff. These cars don't have a lot of damage protection on the bottom, so when you land from a flight like that, you know, over a meter high, it's very dry. So yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. We had a good pace, and this turn 1 obviously was looking a bit like that from the beginning. So there's lots of cars with a lot of damage from this turn 1, so I think we need to revise this for next season, so that's the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like a very tight spot. Now, what actually happened? Was it a shunt from behind? I'm
not entirely sure what happened there. As I came around turn 1, I think Sarrazin was on my left, and I was on the power behind Abt, and he stopped, dead stop. And as soon as he stopped, I went over his car. So I'm not sure why he stopped. I've been told that he's been pushed into the wall, but I don't know. I haven't seen the accident yet.
Well, we're sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're okay. Thank you.
Great to hear from Bruno Senna then, and a real shame that his race ended that way, but we have got nose to tail for the lead of the race here in Monaco. Stefan Sarrazin in 5th place is going to have to come into the pits very, very soon because he is down to 6% energy in his battery remaining, and he's under pressure from Sam Bird, but it's nose to tail for the lead. Is that Bird darting to the inside? I don't think it... Oh, it might have been. There was a big lock-up in the background. So did Sam Bird manage to get through? No, not quite. He's still right out behind Stefan Sarrazin on the run down into the hairpin. And Nico Prost now has joined that fight very much. Buemi's still got a good amount of energy though, and because it's such a short lap here, Mike, the teams are a bit more flexible. If you've got an extra 3%, 4%, that could get you an extra lap potentially.
Yeah, and with the safety car help, they've kind of gained a lap now. So before we were guessing that they pit around any time now, but now they're able to stretch it out a lap. And that opens up for...
In comes Di Grassi with 10% of energy remaining, so I wonder if he's going to come in and try and maybe get an undercut or something like that, get some clear air.
Yeah, very interesting. Maybe that's what they're looking for. They might have seen a gap on track on their strategy to try and get them out in clean air. But risky to come in a lap earlier because it means you've got to manage a little bit more as a second stint unfolds.
But then what's more important in Monaco? Track position.
Yes.
So that's maybe they're thinking. That if they don't do this and just follow the Edam's car into the pits, as also in has come one of the Amlins, and there's Daniel Abt, a very disappointed Daniel Abt, and Nico Prost has come in too. Loic Duval is out there setting the fastest laps of the race in his attempt to pick up 2 points for fastest lap. So we've got Di Grassi, Sarrazin, Prost, Heidfeld and Da Costa all in the pits now.
Yeah, this is interesting. Seb has sector 1, he's improved, and now Piquet Jr. second sector, he's really on it as well. So they've seen that Di Grassi's pitted and they're trying to take advantage of this opportunity. They've
got to turn it up to full and go as much as they can. D'Ambrosio and Bird are both in as well. But Buemi and Piquet are staying out, so out of the pits comes Lucas Di Grassi, and where will he filter in with the rest of the field? That's what we've got to wait and see. He's in very clear air though, isn't he? And so that is great news for him. How difficult is the car swap? Is it pretty straightforward?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just when you come out on with the second car, things are cold. Obviously, cold tyres, cold brakes. So it's all about managing the outlap. But that's the time when you can really lose or gain a lot of time. So it's all about maximising that outlap and getting up to speed as quick as possible. As you see, Seb is really pushing here on his in lap, and I'm sure he's going to be straight in now.
Oh, he's locked up, coming into...
Both of them pushing very hard to make it into the pits quickly.
73 seconds is the minimum pit stop time. Meanwhile, Salvador Duran out there is using his fan boost. I think he's by himself at the moment. Maybe he's going for the fastest lap of the race. But in come our race leaders, Buemi and Piquet. And Di Grassi absolutely nailed the pit stop time, 1 minute and 13 seconds, which is exactly the minimum time. Piquet also set the fastest middle sector of the race on his way into the pits. It was 0.7 of a second quicker than Buemi's middle sector, so this is going to be mighty fascinating. 22 laps to go. Here is Lucas Di Grassi down at the harbour hairpin. He's in clear air, and he can just go for it. And this is, you know, the moment where the racing driver makes the difference, isn't it?
This is tense times to see this unfold now on whether these guys can come out ahead of Lucas Di Grassi. It's going to be very interesting, and we'll find out extremely shortly.
There's Trulli and Chandok leaving the pits, and now they're just waiting for Nelson Piquet Jr. Out he goes, floors the throttle, and here comes Lucas Di Grassi round the final corner into Anthony Nogues, who is going to be leading the Monaco ePrix. We'll find out in just 200 or 300 meters as Di Grassi comes down the start-finish straight, looks to the right, sees Piquet. Di Grassi goes past him, but where is Sebastian Buemi? That's the big question. Has Buemi managed to get out in the lead? He has, just about. That must have been so close coming out of the pit lane, and it was easy to get past Nelson Piquet Jr., but it was, and they go side by side, almost touch on the run down into the hairpin. Is Di Grassi going to get around there? Yes, just about, but that must have been so close coming out the pits.
Oh, it's just where they left off when they came in. So yeah, great to see. Very, very close, and straight away back at it like cats and dogs.
Buemi was actually a 1:14 pit stop time, so he was fractionally slower in the pits. Here's a look at the replay, and I thought Di Grassi was getting put in the wall there.
He got very close in it. Seb didn't want to give him any more room than he was allowed, and yeah, luckily they both got through there cleanly. But I think there's going to be more of this action to come. You know, they're going to be battling it out all the way to the end.
So I should see what on my dash after now.
That's Di Grassi's team radio asking what he should see on his dash, I think. Didn't quite catch all of that.
20 laps to go now. 20 laps to go now.
Okay, so I think he's just trying to find out how long is left in the race. So 20 laps to go. Doing my job for me, Di Grassi's engineer. And Sam Bird, meanwhile, has managed to get him into 4th place. So from 10th on the grid, Sam Bird is up into 4th. D'Ambrosio's down to 5th. Sarazan has lost out and is in 7th place. Da Costa 8th, Charles Pic 9th. And Scott Speed, now he's made his pit stop, is in 10th place. 3.5 seconds off Charles Pic, but at least he is in the points. So that's the battle for 3rd. We go on board now with Sam Bird in 4th position. 5th place in the championship, Sam Bird, retired on the opening lap in Long Beach. And he'll be desperate to get back on the podium, but the man in front of him is battling for the lead of the championship.
Yeah, I thought Nelson would be a little bit closer. He seems to have lost out slightly, but it's going to be interesting for Di Grassi because he's like 80% down on battery power to the other guys. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he manages that. But he still looks to be pushing and giving Seb a hard time.
Now Sam Bird right up behind Nelson Piquet. There's a big lock-up in front. But it looks as though whoever it was got away with it, but kept it all together. This is the battle over 3rd place. Nelson Piquet in the silver fluorescent Next EV by Team China car, with the Virgin of Sam Bird right up behind, nose to tail. Always great coming through the swimming pool there. And Bird, we've already seen him execute passes today. He's got past Nico Prost already, and Stefan Sarazan too, coming down into turn 1. So he knows how to overtake around Monaco, does this man Sam Bird. Wider line into Anthony Noakes to try and get the drive out, but Piquet has still got another fan boost to use now in this car, and that's Loic Duval out of the race. Unsurprisingly, oh, that's going to go 3 wide down into Sainte Devote. Bird holds the outside line, but Piquet will cover the inside, but that's not the place to be getting back markers, is it?
That was very close, 3 wide there. But yeah, I'm not sure if Nelson is just biding his time, trying to save his energy so that he can attack the leaders later, or if he, you know, Sam is that much quicker and he's able to really push Nelson there.
As I say, Piquet has got 1 more fan boost to use, which will give him an extra 30 kilowatts of power for 5 seconds, so he can use that at the moment, by the looks of it, in defense rather than in attack. And Di Grassi is dropping back from Buemi up at the front. The gap is up to 1.5 seconds now, so I wonder if Di Grassi now has to really save, because he had less energy than before, because he came into the pits earlier. That was the gamble, to try and get into the lead. But it didn't quite work out for him, as Sam Bird still follows.
Really eager, isn't he, to get by Sam. He's doing a great job here following Nelson. And it looks like any minute now he's going to pounce. And
oh, and D'Ambrosio's caught right up with them as well. So these guys must be lapping quite slowly. A 57, well, they're not lapping too badly. They're still lapping a bit quicker than Lucas Di Grassi in 2nd place. Turn 1 and the incident, the crash at the start, has been investigated and no further action will be taken, which is nice, because it did look like a racing incident. Okay, it had pretty major consequences, but it didn't look like anyone particularly was to blame. We go on board with Sam Bird now, chasing down the man in front, Nelson Piquet. Piquet has never won at Monaco. In all his attempts, Nelson never managed to take victory. And Sam Bird has won twice here. Down they come into the right-hander. Nelson Piquet has never actually picked up points here. In the 4 races, he's had 3 DNFs and 1 11th place finish. So not been a happy hunting ground for Nelson Piquet Jr. in his career, but he's hoping that's going to change here today as they come into the harbour hairpin.
we can see Lucas slowly coming back to these guys now in 3rd place. So they're about 7/10 a lap quicker that lap. So but then Sebastian Buemi is really pulling away as well. He's just done his best lap, 56.7, and that's giving him a 2.8 second lead right now. So yeah, great job out front by Seb, and but it's unfolding a bit as well in 2nd, 3rd place right now.
D'Ambrosio has been given the hurry up by the Dragon team. They've come over the radio and said, you're quicker than these guys, try and make a pass, which is easier said than done. The gap at the front, as you say, is going up and up. It's now 3.1 seconds, so Buemi's flying away at the front of this race. Really impressive stuff. Is he going to be our first double winner? It's going to have to be, well, we're going to have to lose the first 4 if we're going to get a 2-time winner, because if we're not going to get a 2-time winner.
Slow car.
That's D'Ambrosio saying we're approaching a slow car.
Yeah, and it was either Lucas waving at the crowd or waving, gesturing at Luzzi to get out of the way there. Obviously, he doesn't want to get held up because he's got a lot of guys breathing down his neck.
Great to just watch them through the swimming pool, isn't it, as they then come into the second element of the chicane. De Grassi's got 66% of his energy remaining, so he could be under pressure from the likes of Piquet and Bird come the end of the race. Through the left-hander they come. Out onto the start-finish straight. 14 laps to go here in Monaco, round 7.
Dash and say 14, 1-4. Looking good on temp. You've got to watch your state of charge.
And Jay Penske there talking on the radio, letting Jerome D'Ambrosio know what's going on.
This is De Grassi's gesticulation. I don't think it was a wave to the crowd. I think you're right. Coming down into the harbour hairpin. I think he was suggesting that Liuzzi's weaving all over the place. Where are you going? Took one hand off the wheel there, coming around the hairpin.
Yeah.
Buemi's just done his personal best first sector of the race so far.
De Grassi's come back as well and did his best lap there as well. So I think he was just trying to harvest as much energy there as possible in the last 2 laps, and now he's pushing it and getting a gap again to Nelson. But Nelson looks to be struggling a little bit at the moment, or he's just really biding his time. I'm not too sure what's going on here.
Great shot coming out of the final turn at Anthony Nogues. Across the line comes Nelson Piquet Jr., still running in third place at the moment, 2.2 seconds back from De Grassi. And the top, well, all the top guys, with the exception of Nico Prost, are all lapping about the same time. Prost is about 3-4 tenths of a second slower every lap as we go on board again with Sam Bird down into the harbour hairpin. And he's still right up behind Nelson Piquet Jr. Jerome D'Ambrosio has just done his personal best in the first sector as they go through to back.
Push. There's a push.
Okay, let's see. Will Nelson respond to that, I wonder?
Yeah, let's see what he can do now, if he was holding up or not.
I thought he was going to reply then, but yeah, it's always, I presume it's always very nice when your team come over the radio and tell you to push.
Yeah, like you wanted in the first place.
18.0.
Yeah. Across the line comes Piquet. Down towards the first corner, Sebastian Buemi leading the way, and Piquet has responded actually almost instantly by doing the fastest final sector of the race so far, a 17.686. So that's impressive stuff from Piquet that he responded that quickly down into the harbour hairpin. I think Team China know that Lucas de Grassi has got, oh, look at that. So Piquet's up to 63% now, more than Buemi and de Grassi. So maybe this is just clever energy management, and now they've figured out how far they've got to go, and now they can afford to push potentially.
Yeah, that's it. I think, yeah, maybe he was just, like we said before, just trying to manage it a little bit at the beginning, so he's got a bit more left at the end. You can see now he's got 61%. De Grassi 53, Buemi 58. So Buemi's actually coming back a little bit to Lucas, and
16.6.
but yeah, they're so back and forth on the radio with all this information.
Yeah.
It's really key for the drivers to know, so they can know how much to save and harvest for to get to the end of the race without penalty of going over.
Jean-Eric Vergne's just used his fan boost. He's all by himself further back in the pack. He's 32 laps down because I think he's only just gone out in his second car.
I think he's trying to set a fastest lap here.
Exactly, which he has
just
managed to do.
And yeah, that fan boost is definitely going to help.
55.157 for Jean-Eric Vergne, so they're fighting over the 2 points that go to the fastest lap of the race. Alain Prost smiling because one of his drivers is leading the way. His son is in 6th spot at the moment as they now sort of come up towards back markers, and great to see so many fans here watching the action. It's been really good attendance for this Formula E race, as it has been for most of the Formula E races so far this season. Yes, granted it's free entry, but nevertheless it's great to see the grandstands packed, and it's great to see top-level motorsport accessible to fans as Buemi comes down into the harbour hairpin now. 52% of energy remaining. Out now into back. Into the left-hander.
Yeah, nice line through there. Silky smooth from Seb. And yeah, just managing the race very well here, managing his energy. Good use of the curves through there. and not much coasting at all on this lap.
No, I was just going to say that.
You know, driving this thing as hard as he can. It'd be interesting to see if there's any coasting down into turn 1. That seems to be a favourite for to save energy.
Well, last lap he lost 0.3 of a second to, oh goodness me, this is Antonio Felix da Costa forcing his way past Charles Pic and going up into 8th position, and Scott Speed went through as well. So Pic got very close, but good work from Scott Speed as they come over the crest of the hill, down Avenue JFK, and Nick Heidfeld will be trying to get through as well. Da Costa then 8th place for him, which is not a bad effort considering he started down in 19th place. But look at this. Now, Nelson Piquet has caught Lucas di Grassi in the battle over 2nd position. Buemi, I think, has been told you've got to push because the last 2 laps he's lost 0.3 of a second to Lucas di Grassi in 2nd place. But now di Grassi will have his mirrors full of the next EV by Team China car. Into the Rascasse they come, and Piquet it's like he's just decided to catch up.
He's just switched it on. Yeah, I mean, he's driving smart, just saving his energy at the beginning, and now he's pushing, really breathing down the back of Lucas's neck here. So, and yeah, looking lovely in your hat, Jack, not that anyone can see.
As they come through the right-hander, dropping down the hill now with only 8 laps to go here in Monaco. Sebastian Buemi leading the way for the EDAMS team. His best ever result here was a 7th place in the 2008 GP2 race. And as a result, he'll be more than happy, I think, to get on the podium if he can. Di Grassi is quite short on energy. Look at that, 6% less than Nelson Piquet, and that's sort of a lap and a half of distance. No further decision taken in the incident between cars 10 and 23, which is Trulli and Heidfeld. But it's absolutely nose to tail for 2nd place as they dive out. Now, don't forget as well, Piquet Jr. has got a fan boost, so he can decide to use that if he feels he's close enough to the back of Di Grassi. But across the line they come, 41 out of 47 laps, well, 40 out of 47 laps completed. 7 laps to go here in Monaco, and there are still big question marks about who's going to finish 2nd. And I think Buemi has got the lead reasonably under control at the moment, but he still feels the need to push, because he said his personal best on that last lap.
Yeah, no one's easing off, that's for sure. And yeah, Nelson keeps on breathing down the back of Lucas's neck, and he's really hanging out, especially through turn 1 and 2 there. So he's pushing, he really wants to get by, and I'm sure with the 2.
Oh, a lock-up from Lucas di Grassi, does him? Yes, he just manages to take the corner, thanks to the funky camera angle, we were able to see it. But
a bit backwards then, isn't it, through the mirror, but he's still there, still in front of Nelson, but
he's getting shaken up now. And there's a bit of history between these 2 guys because they are battling for the lead of the championship. And Piquet's using his fan boost now. He's a bit far back, isn't he, as they come down towards the 1st corner.
Could make something happen here, though.
Is he going to be close enough for a look into Sainte Devote? No, he's not. Di Grassi covers the inside line, but Piquet is there or thereabouts the whole way around with him. This is the battle between the 2 championship leaders. There's only 1 point separating them. Down into the hairpin, lock up from Di Grassi. Gets it stopped in time just about. Piquet gets on the power. Good run out of the hairpin, but he's not going to be surely close enough for a look into the back. A little feint to the inside line. This is great racing between 2 experienced racers and rivals. A point between them in the championship. They fell out this morning in qualifying when Piquet felt that Di Grassi had held him up, and they were sitting next to each other but not looking at each other at all, had their backs turned to each other. And I wonder now if we are going to have a very, very interesting end to this race. 5 laps to go here in Monaco, and it's nose to tail between the 2 championship leaders for 2nd place in the race. Buemi's gone, he's off at the front, 2.5 seconds clear, but Piquet in 3rd place has more energy remaining than Di Grassi. Could that become crucial in 5 laps time? And oh, a little look to the inside, he's locked up! Oh my goodness, he just about got it stopped in time. There might have been a little touch in there, but that was... Whew.
Well, he thought about it. He definitely thought about it there. Oh, he got really close, but well managed by Nelson there not to go into the back of Lucas. But now he's just dropped back that few car lengths, and it was really nose to tail then.
I thought he was in the back of him, to be honest, as he looked to the inside line. That means the gap, which was 0.8 of a second. Well, Piquet somehow still slightly closer to Lucas Di Grassi than he was at the previous split as they flashed through Anthony Noakes. Great shot coming through the final corner and out onto the start finish straight again. What's the gap going to be between them now?
6.8.
And that's some of the team radio as they come down towards Sandevot once again. 4 laps to go. Every time we lose a lap, that's one more less chance for PK.
Energy is fine. Energy is
And
fine.
this was the first lock-up from Di Grassi, where PK tried to get that power down, and then it was the second moment that really would be good to see again, because that was the one where PK almost went into the back of the Brazilian. Not that I'm saying the Brazilian differentiates the two as they come through the swimming pool complex now. PK's just got a little bit more energy. That's, I think that was, well, I'm not quite sure, that it sounded like...
Brake balance is back, correct? Correct.
Okay, so they're saying to Nelson Piquet, put more brake balance to the rear of the car. Now, why would the team tell him that rather than him deciding that?
I'm not quite sure, because at this moment, you know, you can keep using the regen, you know, and that will do some of the rear braking for you. But if that's not quite working, then you're gonna have to go more rearward on the actual brakes for you to help the braking. So I'm not quite sure, but one thing I picked up on is, you know, we saw Lucas pit a lap earlier than everybody else, and he's managed to reduce that number now. So he's only 1% behind Buemi, and so he's done a really good job on managing the energy in this stint. So yeah, I mean, hats off to Lucas on this stint. I think he's really managed it well and kept everyone behind him.
And now, what are we seeing in these final throws? Because the gap came down on that last lap by 0.7 of a second between first and second. So Di Grassi starting to close in on Buemi. Since Piquet made that attack, he's suddenly dropped back a lot, and almost into the clutches of Sam Bird. So got 2 laps to go now. The penultimate lap of the race for Sebastian Buemi as he turns into Sandevot for the 46th time out of 47. Drops down the hill towards the harbour hairpin, and Di Grassi on that last lap only took 0.3 of a second out, so he's not closing in at the rate he needs to if he wants to have a chance of taking victory. They've got back markers that they're coming up to. Karun Chanduk is one of them. I think Jarno Trulli is the other one. So that could play into the hands of someone out there. But it's the penultimate lap of the race. Just a minute and a bit of racing left to go here in Monaco. Sebastian Buemi looks like he's about to become our first double winner of the season so far. It's been 6 out of 6 until now. But in the 7th round of the championship, Sebastian Buemi is starting the final lap of the race. Across the line he comes. He's got 1 lap to go with 9% of energy, and that should be plenty for this final lap.
Hopefully these back markers can get out of the way and make this last lap quite clean for Seb. Otherwise, yeah, it could be interesting with Lucas not too far away.
Through the harbour hairpin comes Sebastian Buemi, out onto the stretch. Karun Chanduk gets out of the way, and well, he still manages to gesticulate there, Sebastian Buemi, as they come around to back. He's managed to keep the lead of the race. Through the swimming pool section comes Buemi. He's never won here in Monaco, but that could be about to change. It's very, very close for the final spot on the podium. Sam Bird right up behind Nelson Piquet Jr., who's dropped back ever since that incident earlier on. But through the final corner at Anthony Noakes comes Sebastian Buemi. The EDAMS driver is going to win the first Formula E race in Europe. It's the checkered flag for Buemi in Monaco. Wonderful performance from the Swiss.
Bravo. Bravo.
Sam Bird almost gets him at the
Il a mis le damier trop tard, ce con. Il a mis le damier trop tard. T'es sûr que c'est fini? T'es sûr que c'est fini?
Delight for Sebastian Buemi. Bird so close to getting Piquet at the line. There was just 1/10 of a second between them. Di Grassi in second. And there he is.
On est certain. Y a pas les commissaires, ils sont pas au bord de la piste. Hein. T'es sûr? Hein?
Celebration inside the EDAMS garage. That's their 3rd win of the season. The most winning team now in Formula E. There is Mr. Liu, the boss of the Team China squad. Nelson Piquet Jr. finishes in 3rd spot, but loses a bit of championship ground to Lucas Di Grassi. Wow. Classic Monaco, that really, wasn't it? We had some moments. It was very difficult to overtake, as we expected, but it was a really hard-fought battle for the lead of the race, especially the exit of the pit stop, and that must have been so close with Di Grassi coming out and trying to get past Buemi there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great little tussle between the top 3 there all the way through, and yeah, great job by Sebastian Buemi there. A great win, and it's kind of been a long time coming. I think he's been had some good qualifying results, but yeah, great to get a win. And Lucas, obviously important for points. He's still in the championship and ekes out a couple more points.
I think that is very satisfactory for Sebastian Buemi. First and second place men, side by side. It's going to be the first Monaco podium for the pair of them. As De Grassi slots into the third place spot, Buemi pulls in to P1. Just give him a little nudge, just to show you know where the front of the car is. Nelson Piquet finished third with the fastest final sector on that last lap as he tried to keep Sam Bird behind him. But it's Sebastian Buemi who wins for the second time this season, our first double winner of the year. A congratulatory pat from Nelson Piquet. Lucas De Grassi second, and he has now well extended his championship advantage over Piquet, but Buemi will have closed in with that result. And a thumbs up from the pair of them, but monster drive really from Buemi. That's our first lights to flag victory of the season so far.
Right, yeah, he really controlled it well. Good start at the beginning, kept out of trouble, and just managed his energy very well, and was quick at the same time. And he just always kept that little buffer so that he was comfortable, and if he had to save more energy, he always kind of had it in the bag. I think it's just managing it from the front. So great job by Seb. Also Lucas with hitting that lap earlier and having to manage that. And Nelson, you know, was trying to play, you know, save some energy at the beginning, so there's more left at the end. But still, with the more energy at the end, he still didn't quite have enough to get by Lucas. But yeah, well driven by all the top three there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a very entertaining Formula E race on the streets of Monaco. There's Jean-Paul Driot and Alain Prost. 4 times Alain Prost has stood on the podium on the top step here in Monaco. And it'll now be another one for his team. Congratulations from Nelson Piquet Jr. They get ready to take to the podium here in Monaco, a very special occasion, a very special moment. Well, it really is impressive as they get ready to climb up there. Did you get to go up there when you won?
Yeah, I did. Got to shake hands with the Prince. Yeah, it's a very cool moment actually being up there, and you kind of realise all the previous winners that have been up on those steps as well.